I'm Tosh.
And I'm Jenna, and we are very excited about this week's episode. And for you very keen regular watchers on Rogers, because if you're listening to us just on the podcast, we are also on TV.
That's right.
You may have noticed that we've switched things up a little bit this week.
We're in different places.
Woo-hoo! Different spots. And it's very kind of telling that we did that with our guest Kim, because Kim is here, and her business is all about getting you to switch up your space and your mind.
Nice intro, Jenna. Nice
Kim
intro.
kind of really wrote it as we were about to go on. So I'm going to let Kim introduce herself to you guys.
Thanks, you guys. Yeah, so I'm Kim Sneath. I'm a clutter coach. I've been operating my business since 2007. And I've recently relocated back to Moncton, which is my hometown.
Yay.
Yeah, so I offer residential clutter coaching services and consultations.
And we're going to get into a little bit more of what that means before we're done here today. But I think as soon as someone locally hears that, oh, you're originally from here, who are you? What's your father's name? Do I know you? So tell us a little bit more about Kim.
Yeah, well, I come from an entrepreneurial background. My I had no interest in it then. I wanted to be in music theater, and I went along that route.
Okay.
But my parents owned a business on Elmwood Drive, Elmwood Drapery. And do you know where the Dairy Queen is now?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the
Can't
building.
not know where Dairy Queen
Yeah,
is.
that was my house. It used to be my
wow.
house. They knocked it down
No
and they
way.
sold it. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Not cool, but cool.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be cool if you were a little kid to grow up in Dairy Queen, but
Yeah.
I didn't. I grew up in a big house. And the building next to it didn't exist. My parents had that built,
Oh.
and that was Elmwood Drapery. It's now the
Really?
Blue House. The,
Okay.
Yeah,
the
the dentistry, yeah.
Yeah. So that was my area. That's where I grew up. I walked down the street, went to Forest Glen School, back when you could go from kindergarten to grade 9.
Right.
I think it's just K to 4 now. I
Wow.
believe.
Yeah.
And then Moncton High, and then Mount A eventually.
Excellent. So you stayed right local.
I did.
You did. That's
I
great.
did.
And you took musical theater at Mount A? Is that what you said?
I took voice.
Okay.
I got my undergrad degree in music, and then I went to Halifax. I was in dinner theater there for a little bit, and then I heard about the program at Sheridan College, which was in Oakville, Ontario,
Yeah.
and that's what brought me back to Ontario, where my dad is originally from. My mom's from here. Arsenault is her last name. She's from Rogersville area.
Excellent. So I'm an Ontario girl. Where's your dad from?
See, we can play this.
Yeah,
Right.
really good.
Northern Toronto, I think, like
Okay.
Lawrence.
Okay.
Back when,
Okay.
yeah, Lawrence and Young.
Oh, he's
He
a
had
city
service-
boy.
Yeah,
City boy. Wow.
originally, but then he came out here. Well, he met Mom in Moncton, and then they moved or came out here, and he fell in love with the Maritimes.
You can't not. You can't not. What did someone tell me the other day? It's something fever. Anyway.
Maritime fever.
Maritime fever or whatever, and I was like, yes, pinpoint. That is exactly what it
That's
is.
what happened to
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
It took you all, a day or two, I think, to decide she was going to live here.
yeah. That vacation changed
Yeah.
very quickly.
Instant. Yeah, it's hard to forget and let go of. And my studies brought me to Ontario. I mean, that's the place you're going to go if you want to be in music theater.
For
All
sure.
the auditions are there, Toronto, and so on. But I always did dream about coming back. I did get to go to the Charlottetown Festival, and I did a season there, which was so great.
Wow.
Yeah, and then Stratford Festival, and so. But that was like 15 years ago. That career.
And so, speaking of that, you shifted careers,
Yeah.
and now you have a whole different
Yeah.
career. And that's how we connected,
Yeah.
was over your new career, because I don't do musical theater. I don't know her from that. You don't want to hear me do musical theater.
We'll sing a trio later. I'm gonna work it up.
But the first time I actually was introduced to you and your work was at Work of Heart.
Yeah,
You
that's
spoke at
right.
Work of Heart,
wow.
I guess 2 sessions
2
ago
sessions,
now, I
yeah,
think.
2018. Yeah.
Yeah. And so tell us a little bit about what it is you're doing and why it would come up at something called Work of Heart.
Yeah, that's a great question. And when I spoke to Ange, it was, I had recently done a Facebook Live, which was getting unstuck and finding your passion. And that's what I find so much with people in their homes in clutter is they're stuck. And clutter is unmade decisions, and there's a lot of weight to it. I mean, people often say to me, I'm drowning, I'm lost, I'm, and there's a lot of struggle, as you know. So
It's making me look around my studio. If you can see what's over here.
just
Yikes.
here.
Yikes.
It's nothing compared to what's in my Kim has seen my house. She has seen the heart of the clutter in my house. Yeah, this looks fantastic.
Oh, well, thank you. I did try to tidy up a little bit before you came because I was like, oh goodness, she doesn't want to see all of this stuff in here.
She does want to see it because then she can say, oh,
That's
Tosh,
it.
Yeah.
you need me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I should stick around after the show today. Yeah.
All that's exciting to me. I go into people's homes, they often feel embarrassed or whatever, and I see space where others see none. I find all these little nooks and crannies where you can put your stuff. So it's not about getting rid of everything. It's not about becoming a minimalist, but it's about functioning in your home better.
Right.
You know, because you guys are moms, so you got to give yourself a break. It's going to you're more in circumstantial clutter time right now. The circumstances, right?
I like that phrase.
Yeah, and there are a lot of my clients are circumstantially cluttered, and some are chronically disorganized.
I'm gonna go a little bit of A, a little bit of B over here.
And it's kind of like, do you think it's a genetic thing as well? Like, if your parents had a lot of stuff, you're probably going to have a lot of stuff as well.
It's environmental. So it's
Okay.
the environment that you grew up in really forms your habits and thoughts and your beliefs, and therefore you carry them forward. And clutter usually follows you everywhere. And some people who grew up in a clutter home live the opposite because it was too stressful for them. Yeah.
I'm just thinking of my oldest bedroom, and I remember as a kid, my mom always being like, clean your room, clean your room. And I'd get in there and I wouldn't clean it, I would just rearrange it. And, you know, like move my bed and then just shove everything under the bed or whatever. But my oldest is just like me. Just like there is Lego everywhere, and she won't clean it up to save her life. But now I'm like, I've turned into my mom. I am my mom, like just clean the mess, clean the mess, clean the mess, and it never gets cleaned, and you don't feel like you're getting any further ahead with anything.
You're bringing up a great point, Tosh, about the difference between tidying and actually getting organized and decluttering. And most people don't want to do that step first, which is the purging and letting go, because it is unmade decisions, and it does often bring up emotion or this feeling of you judge yourself. Why didn't I get this done? Why didn't I make this happen? And so on. So it's challenging.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it's worth it. It is so worth it.
That's the thing you bring up, like what I love so much about my work. It's not about getting shelves and bins and putting labels. That's fun. That's the end product. But the journey along the way and the transformation, that's why my tagline is transform your space and your life. Because my clients, honestly, like, it's just relief, and they're lifted, and they can finally see the space for what it is. They can enjoy their homes, they can enjoy their families, they can get the projects off the ground that they want, whether it's scrapbooking and using that back room that's just the junk room, or expanding their basement, or whatever it is they want to do.
One of the things that I realized when we did a little mini session, it's almost a year ago now.
Yeah.
And Kim came in, and we went through the house, and I showed her some of the worst areas. And we did make some progress that I have kept up with.
Good. All right,
And then there's some other that I still have that list that we made of the things I was going to do.
Yeah.
We haven't quite gotten to.
You still have the list, exactly.
I still have the list.
Yeah.
I still have that vision in my head that you helped put there, though, because what surprised me about the process wasn't so much that journey, because I'd heard you speak and I understood that part, and I get the value, and I want to make the time to go do that again in other areas. But it was also the physical space and the difference of having someone like Kim come in and look, and I stood there talking about what wasn't working in a particular space, and it wasn't necessarily the clutter, and you're like, oh, but you move this chair here and do this and move that and look at all this room and look at what this has created. I'm like, it was to have that different perspective of not just the stuff that was in the space, which is certainly that huge first part of it, but also being able to kind of reclaim the space in that sense of seeing a possibility in a room that you had kind of given up on.
Yeah.
In terms of just the flow, like that to me was, and even like that was the part that the rest of my family got, because they didn't do the work for, the decluttering of the areas that I did get to. But they could see that visual, like they walked in, they're like, oh, what happened here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and it was fascinating to have that moment.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's exactly it, is that, well, when I started my business, I actually started it with home staging. So I staged, and it was in Toronto, so I staged many homes in many different sizes and many different types. So I really got used to, because I love interior design, and that's what drew me to the business in the first place. And I staged my own home. That's how I actually got started in my own business. is I renovated and staged my own home, and then my realtor said, "Do you want to do this for a living?" And I said yes, and they started sending me clients.
No way.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
I've been like toying with interior design and which way do I want to go, because I've been a performer, so I wasn't quite sure which direction I was going to go in. And the staging gave me the ability to play with design, but not fully commit to be an interior designer. And so with furniture placement, I got used to knowing, well, this is the best use of the space, and really seeing it in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you started in Toronto, but you haven't told us what brought you back to the Maritimes yet. Like, what made you decide to come home?
Yeah, good question. Well, as many of you probably know, Toronto's a pretty big and busy place,
Yeah.
and it's just gotten busier. And I come back every year. My mom's here,
Yeah.
so I have family here, and it's just been a pull more and more and more. And for me, slowing down and connection to nature and connection to community. I mean, I have over 20 years in Toronto, lots of friends, but my gosh, it's so hard to get together with somebody who's clear across the city and all the traffic you have to go through.
Absolutely.
So for me, it was all about that, about coming home and really connecting with community.
I think that's so neat that you talked about connection, because I think that's a lot of what you're doing with your work, with, talking about, clearing clutter and
Yeah.
that you're really helping people connect
Yeah.
with themselves and with the things they've been holding on to, and then connecting in a new way with their own space.
And that's it. That's why I started to switch out of the home staging, because there wasn't a connection. Often I never even met the homeowner.
Oh, wow.
They were, yeah, because it was the real estate agents hiring me. I go in, they're like, "We need this yesterday, sell the house, boom, you're on to the next one." And for me, it's all about the people. So I joined the Professional Organizers of Canada. Yes, there is such an association. Very organized meetings.
Great notes.
Really set up the table. Okay. So, yeah, I really met some great women there, and I mentored with some women who have been doing this for years, because I may be an organized person, but how do I teach somebody that? And that's what I learned in those early years. And what I love about that is the connection, as you said, is people are really going through a transition when we talk about the circumstantial clutter. And I've experienced this myself. Divorce, death of a parent, out of province, moving, depression. All of those things are the circumstances where people's clutter may start to build up. For me, it didn't land in clutter, but I've been through all of those things. So I really get how hard it is for people to give up their stuff, because it's so linked to emotions. The stuff it's more than stuff. I always say it's about getting you back to you. The stuff is really not part of it in a way, but we build it up like it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm just thinking of the hundreds of episodes of American Pickers that I've watched. And you see these people go in and they're like, "Oh, no, I've been playing with that since I was a little boy, but it's still in the box."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, does it have that much sentimental value to it if you've never actually played with it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just to...
Where's the joy?
Where is
You
the
know?
joy? Exactly.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
that comment brings
Of
me to
course.
that lady who says you shouldn't...
That lady.
That lady that tells you you shouldn't have more than 4 books. I have a big bookshelf. I need to fill it. Yeah.
Everybody's got their thing. For me, it would be clothes.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their thing. It's so interesting to find out what everybody's thing is. And Marie Kondo, who you're referring to, wrote a book called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. I find in every one of my clients' homes with a bookmark about a quarter of the way in, underneath a
Don't
bunch
go
of
look
stuff.
beside my bed. Yeah.
It's a great book,
Yeah.
but books don't transform people, and some people can take a book and really apply it. There are some, but that's the few. So if you need that as some motivation and some direction, great. That's a great first step, but you often need the help, because it is overwhelming, especially when it has gone on for, sometimes it's years. I've had clients who have built up clutter for 12 years in every room. And that's not to judge them, it's just the way.
10 years. We've had the house 10 years.
There you go. 10 and under, easy.
Yeah, there are boxes that I know. Those are the boxes that came in the house. Like,
Yeah.
really, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We're slowly trying to find our way to where those boxes are in the pile and get rid of them.
That's more common than you think, and I want everybody to know that you're not alone. Like, don't be ashamed about that, and don't be ashamed about calling for help, because it's lots of people are struggling with that.
Well, and sometimes I think that's all it is that most of us need, and why there's such a plethora of coaches for every type now is
Yes.
we just need that motivator. We need that accountability partner to say, yes, you are going to do this.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you know you can do it, but you keep putting it off on your own.
Yeah.
But if you pay someone to come tell you to do it,
You're gonna do
you're
it.
gonna do it.
Or at least
At
get
least that-
started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that's how I work, and I think that's how a lot of people work, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of us need that accountability, that push, that like, yes, you can do this. This is when we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Here's some help about how to do it. Like, yeah,
It's like hiring a coach at the gym,
Yeah.
you know? And you're like, oh, I did 10 push-ups, woohoo, or sit-ups. Yeah, they're going to get you to do 20. Same thing. I'm going to get you to go further when you want to quit at 45 minutes in. You know, that's why I do my sessions at 3 hours. We experience this because you don't really get a whole lot done in an hour. And then you really start getting going and building your momentum by an hour and a half, 2 hours in, 2.5, 3 hours, boo, wall hits.
Absolutely.
I've
yeah.
made too many decisions.
Yeah.
I can't think anymore. Sometimes we feel like, oh, we're almost done this room. We'll go to 3.5 hours
Right.
if I'm still seeing the light in my client's eyes, and we'll go there. But that's just the magic time.
So what happens? Walk us through a session.
Yeah.
Like what kicks off the start of your 3 hours?
The first thing is before the 3 hours is calling me. So a free complimentary consultation with me over the phone where I find out if you're even ready to go there yet, right? So I ask you those questions. Where are you at? Where do you want to go? What are your goals? What are your timelines, budgets, and so on? Then you ask me all my questions about me and so on. And then I show up at your home for the first session. And it's like what you can look at it.
yeah, there's video. I'll
is
put the link
video.
again.
Okay.
Great, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so it's a walkthrough. I've got to see what you just described to me on the phone, say the week before. We walk through all the areas of your home, even if it's not cluttered in that area, because for me, it's a big puzzle. And I look at that and I'm like, oh, okay, if I'm going to suggest that we move something over here in the living room, where is that going to go? How would that be if we shift it to the basement? What if we do this with your bedroom, blah, blah, blah. So I see that whole big picture. It's more of a talk through. And then usually we have time to actually do something, which we did as well. And we'll start decluttering or changing the furniture placement or whatever. And I'll leave you with a plan. The other biggest thing, and most people ask me, is like, well, how long does it take? How long does it take? And it really does depend on you. It is, you guys set the pace.
Right.
You know, if somebody has just had a death of a family member and we're going through that stuff, of course that's going to take more time, more sensitivity, more emotions going to come up. If you're about to sell your house, you're a busy mom, we're like, boop, 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 let's get it go. You know, so it really is by you. But in that first consultation, I will give you an idea of like, okay, if you want your goals to be A, B, and C, and these are your priorities, I'm guessing that this will be, or estimating that this will be how many sessions.
Okay. And you actually physically help people
I
with
physically
the
do it.
Wow.
I'm on your floor.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 And she's
I
good.
lift it.
Yeah.
And I haul, thank you, and I haul stuff away in my car.
Oh,
So, not furniture.
No, yeah.
Petite, but I'll haul all the stuff away in my car, and that's included in the session. So after the 3 hours is done, I do haul it away over to Value Village.
Okay.
That's a quick and drop off, and they take everything. And that's included in your 3 hour session, even though it's after the 3 hours. For some people, I had a client this summer here in Sackville, actually, and they were very concerned about the environment. So I dropped off things at the SPCA, so blankets, pillows, they need all that for their pets. And stuff to churches, church bazaars, that type of thing.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that was a little extra charge because it does take a little more time.
Exactly.
And
gas
the stuff
and-
stays in my car. That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing. Is like I'm out of there. I'm like, get this stuff out.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know. Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't tell people where you send their stuff so they don't go buy it back.
I know. I had a client say that to me once. She went back to Value Village. I said, no. And she said she saw some of her stuff there.
Oh my
and I said,
goodness, no, it's gone. Let it be.
just
Yeah.
pay me to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I want to say something about Value Village too, because some people really poo-poo it and they think, well, they're not for profit, or they are for profit. Is they divert 700 million, 700 million, sorry, I'm bad at remembering stats, of tons of waste from, right?
Whoa.
annually
Wow.
from the landfills. So this stuff isn't going in the landfills necessarily.
And they
Yeah.
do partner with local groups as well. I know
They
that the
do.
Association for Community Living here, I think, is their partner. And
That's
I know,
right.
so I know I've dealt with different people who are like, no, please take it there because
Yeah.
it does actually help a local group as well as, you know,
And
that
they employ
overall.
people in the community. You know, they give people jobs and,
Yeah, and a
so
lot
on.
of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their main mandate is reuse.
Mhm.
Go in and buy that gently used shirt or jeans.
And if you don't like the prices they put on it, you don't have to buy it.
That's right. And they have a
Yeah.
50. Anyway, let's not talk about shopping. That's one of the habits.
Yeah, yeah. And secondhand shops are
Yeah.
one of my bad habits. Yeah, I love them.
Yes.
Love them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and we love that you do.
I know.
Yes, please
They're
come
fun.
shop consignment. It's fantastic.
I actually really am in need of new jeans, Jenna.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
in November.
There is a sale coming our way.
Yes,
Stay
for you
tuned for
who
that.
have not caught on, I also own a consignment sale business.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really why she has that much stuff in her house.
Yes.
That's
It's
it.
not
I
even
would-
her
I would
stuff.
Love, I would
It's
love it if that were true. It's all mine. It's all mine. Some of it needs to be sold.
Absolutely. Well, before we wrap things up today, Kim, how about we let people know how to find you?
Yeah, so I'm online every social media channel that you got out there. I have my website, which is kimsneath.com. You can email me at kim@kimsneath.com. My phone number is 588-9055. And I just want to leave you with, too, I'm going to be relaunching my online course, which starts January 1st. The
Perfect.
time of year when everybody
Yes.
wants to, and it's called Space for Grace, How to Transform Your Space in Your Life.
Fantastic.
Yes, that's awesome. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Yeah, and January's a fantastic time. to
Exactly.
Tackle it all.
We're all inside, it's
Yeah.
cold.
You don't want to be outside, exactly.
Deal with it all.
Exactly. We always do a purge before Christmas with the kids. Like,
Yeah.
clean this out. We'll donate it before Christmas, and then move in all
Yeah.
your new stuff.
Oh yeah, and too, I'm doing a workshop on paper. Conquer your paper clutter.
Oh.
Do you know that? Oh, listen. Do you
Yeah.
know that 80% of the paper we keep, we never use or look at again?
Oh, I totally believe it.
Right?
Yeah.
We have
Definitely.
a university. I'm pretty sure I still have high school notes.
Yeah.
Like, really.
So I'm doing
Yeah.
that on November 7th in the evening at La Place in Dieppe.
Wonderful.
Great
Fantastic.
place. Yeah.
Excellent. They
Yeah.
can find more information about that on your Facebook page and all
That's
that
right.
jazz too. Perfect. Excellent. Well, thank you again so much for
Yes,
coming.
Thanks, guys.
It's been a blast. And remember, follow us anytime. You can subscribe on iTunes or Spotify and follow us. And
And, click the little button there that you're watching us on YouTube.
yes, please. Yes.
Give a thumbs up.
See you next week.